The tale of the Mayan civilization is one of greatness, ingenuity, and tenacity. From modest origins, the Maya established an extraordinary civilization renowned for its accomplishments in astronomy, art, architecture, and governance. Despite obstacles like conflict, changing environmental conditions, and Spanish conquest, their legacy lives on, from majestic pyramids to thriving commercial centers. The lasting impact of the Maya is evidence of one of the most fascinating civilizations in history. Captivating history is the source of this video. The early civilization of the Maya since 2012, when many believed that the Mayan calendar would end along with civilization, there has been a resurgence of interest in the Mayan civilization. When the Mayans made their calendar, what did they know? What caused the rise and fall of this fascinating ancient civilization? Come along as we briefly examine the Maya, Mesoamerica's most significant civilization. People migrated into North America from the land bridge that connected present-day Alaska and Siberia between 40,000 and 20,000 BCE. Seeking a warmer climate, better hunting grounds, and more abundant plant life, they relocated southward. Between 10,000 and 8,000 BCE, they established themselves in the present-day Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. They also lived in southeastern Mexico, the Yucatan, and northwest Central America. Natural and mineral resources, including fish, jade, and obsidian, were abundant in the coastal regions, lowlands, and highlands of the Mayan civilization. Around 6000 BCE, agriculture began to take hold, creating a huge food surplus that fueled population growth. These resources served as the foundation for the early Maya civilization, which flourished. The pre-classic era spanned 1500 BCE to 250 CE. Before becoming the early Mayan states, tribal villages developed into tribal chiefdoms. With the invention of pottery in 1700 BCE, trade became considerably simpler. The establishment of an elite class, a ruling class that would control the lower classes, as a result of this trade between groups in Mexico and Central America, shaped the social structure of many subsequent civilizations. Petty chiefdoms were created as a result of this hierarchy trickling down, with a central village ruling over smaller hamlets. The sophisticated Mayan villages came into contact with other societies, including the Olmecs, when they started engaging in regional trade in the 1200s BCE. Then, the Olmec gods, urbanism, rituals, and art were incorporated into Mayan culture. Strong cities developed from chiefdoms to proto-states, as wealth and power increased, and conflict accompanied the emergence of proto-states. The Mayan kings discovered that they could raid other tribes to obtain money and labor and to destroy rivals. Around 800 BCE, the central Mayan influence spread to the highlands region, and the lowland Maya moved from the interior to the riversides and lakes. Due to their elevated status in trade and warfare, Caminaljuyu, El Ujuxte, and El Mirador became the sites of the first Mayan states around 400 BCE. The development of these areas was largely responsible for the evolution of the Mayan state, as shown by the opulent structures constructed during this era. For instance, the 236-foot-tall La Danta Pyramid, which was constructed in the now-gone city of Mirador, was the biggest pyramid in early Mayan civilization and all of ancient Mesoamerica. These states were rife with conflict. Uprisings were frequent, and no state was exempt. Furthermore, it is believed that volcanic eruptions, overpopulation, and excessive soil use led to the decline of the early Maya civilizations around 150 CE. The Age of Gold. The lowlands. Maya gained prominence while the Pacific coast, Maya lost it. Following the fall of El Mirador, the Mayan population, art and writing flourished in the lowlands, and the city of Tikal in modern-day Guatemala gained strength and influence. Tikal, which had an estimated population of 100,000, grew to become a strong state by extending its influence throughout the surrounding regions. The rivalry between the states of Tikal and Calakmul was the main political and economic issue at the time. Following a protracted conflict with Calakmul, Tikal lost his position of authority, creating a power vacuum in which numerous states proclaimed their independence. Calakmul became the most potent Mayan state of its era. It was a period of significant intellectual and cultural advancement, primarily in the fields of astronomy and the creation of the well-known Mayan calendar. But empires don't last forever. Due to ecological factors and almost constant warfare, the major cities of Tikal and Calakmul fell around the 9th century CE. The Mayan Golden Age came to an end when the cities were abandoned and turned back into small villages, from the Age of Gold to the Age of Catastrophe. The Mayans of the Yucatan Peninsula gained power as a result of the fall of the southern lowland cities. The Terminal Classic era saw the rise of older pre-classical cities and the pan-Mesoamericanization of Mayan civilization. The famous Chichen Itza, which translates to "at the mouth of the well of the Itza," rose to fame during this time. It gained more notoriety during this time due to its location on the northern Yucatan Peninsula and the ensuing reliance on maritime trade. Chichen Itza became the hub of a Mesoamerican trade network as it rose to prominence. At the same time, society grew more democratic and the ruling class weakened. The Terminal Classic era came to an end with these modifications, and the post-Classic era started. Due to devastating wars, Chichen Itza declined in the middle of the 11th century and lost its status as a major power by 1100 CE. The Aztecs to the north gained power as Mayan influence waned. The Aztec leader attempted to persuade all of the Maya to band together against the Spanish when the Spanish conquistadors arrived in Montezuma, but by 1530, the Highlands and Pacific Coast Mayans had fallen to the Spanish because they had failed to unite against a common threat. The Yucatan Mayans valiantly fought the Spanish from 1527 to 1530, ultimately defeating them in 1535. However, reinforcements from Spain continued to arrive, and after a final resistance attempt, the Spanish had taken over all of the Mayan territory by 1546. The pre-Columbian Mayans suffered greatly as a result of the conquest. By 1697, the civilization had finally fallen into oblivion, with 90% of their population having perished from European diseases, war, and slavery. Government of the Mayans. Different Mayan societies had different political structures. During the late post-classic period, Chichen Itza had a multipal joint rule system, where the royal family shared governance. The middle class was primarily composed of low-level priests, soldiers, and merchants, while the elites accounted for 10% of the population. Commoners were either laborers or farmers in the lower middle class. The monarchs were the ultimate rulers of the Mayan states, according to all scholars. They were from royal dynasties, and their authority was based on their possession of resources like obsidian. Rulers' fortunes were more precarious than their subjects thought. Ill luck, like drought, could jeopardize their authority. Although a Mayan city might suffer greatly if a Mayan king was captured or sacrificed, these leaders possessed undeniable power despite their eventual decline. The Mayan warfare. For the Mayans, warfare was a constant way of life and served a vital purpose. Mayan kings were ferocious war leaders who were portrayed as symbolizing sacrificed prisoners by wearing trophy heads on their belts. The Nakam, a chief military strategist in charge of assembling and arranging armies, was one of the most significant individuals in combat. Officers could only be members of the elite. Soldiers were always middle class or common people. The atlatl, or spear, was a weapon that the Mayans frequently used and that could hit a target from 150 feet away. Clubs, axes, and spears with spikes or blades were also employed. Soldiers armed with axes or clubs either accompanied spearmen or participated in raids. According to research, the jungle terrain caused Mayan soldiers to fight out of formation. Hand-to-hand combat followed an initial volley of spears and arrows as the order of battle. The Maya fought to gain control of trade routes, increase their territory, and capture prisoners to offer as sacrifices to the gods. The Mayan culture religion permeated every aspect of Mayan life, from agriculture to trade. To please the gods, the chief priest, who served as the ruler, would offer sacrifices and carry out ceremonies. Although human blood was the most powerful sacrifice, human sacrifices were only made on special occasions, like when a new temple was blessed or a ruler was crowned. These sacrifices were frequently made during trying times, like famines and disease outbreaks. The Mayans practiced polytheism, and it should come as no surprise that there were 250 names for Mayan gods, the most significant of which was Itzamna, the supreme deity. The gods were found in both the underworld and the upper world, sometimes referred to as the sky realm. A rich and diverse aspect of the ancient Mayan culture was their religious life. The Mayans' persistent impact. Contrary to popular belief, the Spanish invasion did not completely exterminate the Mayans. The remaining 10% of the Maya were rounded up and relocated to Spanish-style settlements following the Spanish conquest, with the expectation that they would convert to Catholicism. Mayan cultural elements persisted and were incorporated into Catholic customs. Despite difficult circumstances, the Maya continue to live today. The Maya no longer control their farms, and rainforests have been destroyed. Today, Mayan regions are well-known tourist destinations, guaranteeing the survival of Mayan culture and giving many Mayans a way to make a living. Even today, the elaborate and complicated history of the Mayans is evidence of one of the greatest civilizations in Central America. Check out our book, Maya History, a captivating guide to the Maya civilization, culture, mythology, and the Maya people's impact on Mesoamerican history, to learn more about the history of the Maya. It comes in paperback, audiobook, and ebook formats. Additionally, while it's still available, get your free Mythology Bundle ebook. The description contains all of the links. For more videos like this, please subscribe and hit the like button if you liked the video.